10. So we have 4, we have a quorum. First thing on the agenda is receive comments from the public. And I think we've got 2. We got Dan Colkhorst and a resident, Ryan. Hi. Let Dan go. He'll get it.
Be quick. Maybe. Dan Colkhorst, guys, worked for you guys the last couple of years trying to get us some work done on at 1488. But I'm here tonight because Rhonda Trove, who is my typical person that comes to these meetings on our behalf, no longer with Howard Hughes. So I'm standing in tonight to introduce you guys to Marshall Jordan. He's right here. He's going to be filling in, and we're looking for a new person to take on the government affairs role. So we might have some musical chairs over the next few months as we're figuring out how this all works out. But I wanted to introduce him. You know who I am, and keep you informed as going forward with replacing Rhonda. The other thing is I want to give you guys a quick update on the work that we're looking at on 1488. We have a drainage study that's been done, but as a result of the drainage study, we're not going to be able to put in just detention ponds that join the creek up there. We're going to actually have to do some improvements in the creek that's on the far south end of the property. So I'll bring the plans to you. You'll see it all before it all happens, but it's a little more complicated hydraulically than we thought it was going to be.
Okay.
But we also have a land sale pending at the intersection of Buckshot Lane, 1488. It's a land use that I think you will all be happy with if it comes to pass. But as a result of this potential land sale, we are actively designing, got a set of plans about 50 or 60% finished right now. This parcel will be served completely by the existing storm sewer that's right by the CVS. So storm and sanitary and water will all go directly to the east to get to this particular parcel. So we're going to be phasing the construction if this comes up. You'll see the plans, your lead engineer is doing the work for us. So he'll probably bring them out the next couple of meetings and share those with you. But that's the latest on the improvements. We finally got somebody interested in buying that land from us. So we're pretty excited about that.
Question.
Sure.
You said the land sale, is that where they built those houses right there?
That is not on, that's not in MUD 47. That's immediately to the south of your boundary.
Yes.
So that is, they're actually being served by the city of Conroe.
Okay.
I don't know how they pull this off. They've got kind of a lift station that pumps to a lift station that pumps to a force main that finally finds its way back to the city of Conroe. But that's that parcel that's immediately abutting this tract.
Which side? I'm confused because I know the area. I live right there.
So if you drive in on Buckshot Lane, the property we're looking at is immediately to your right or to the west of Buckshot Lane.
So it would be before that housing. Okay, I see.
If you look on the map, you see at the top of
Yeah.
that T, right where that is.
No, I've been down there many times.
Yeah.
I was just confused.
No problem.
Thank you.
Any other questions for me?
I'm looking forward to hearing about more details.
Yeah.
Yeah, be great.
We will hopefully that this deal continues to make it. We'll have some real.
Okay.
We'll get to do some real development there.
And welcome, Marshall.
Yes.
Forward to seeing you. Yeah, good. Okay, Ryan, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ryan Maya. I'm a resident here in the Woodlands at 166 Winter Green Townhome. I'm working with Woodlands Water right now on an uninstalled issue. On my property, I found out when I got my bill for about $600. Repairing a 2-week leak on my property from April 17th to May 9th. And the leak about 3,500 gallons of water a day. I work from home. Didn't see any leak in my property, in my house, single. And I didn't see any water leaks in front of my house, behind my house, my neighbors next to me, which are attached, didn't notice any water leaks. So I'm here today to see what all, can be done to help compensate. Woodlands Water has done some concessions for me already, but there's still a few $100s outstanding, which I'd have to reconcile with you guys. And like I said, I've lived there for just over a year. Put the toilets in before I moved in. I'm by myself. It's silent in the house. I can hear the tanks fill. I can hear the dishwasher run. Haven't done any repairs before, during, or after that project. And in fact, the leak ended on May 7th or on May 9th, and on May 7th, I actually left out of town for 2 weeks. So apparently the leak fixed itself while I was gone. So there's a lot of questions to me. I have no explanation for it, and so I've come to Women's Water and wanted to address you guys this evening. So, any questions for me?
What's your normal bill?
About 20, maybe 25 a month.
$100.
It's quite low.
So on a gallon, how many gallons was this?
The leak,
Yeah,
it was it started out at day one at 900 gallons, then went up to about 3,500. It stayed consistent for 2 weeks at that 3,500. And then the last day, it went down to 900, and then it was off when I was out of town for 2 weeks. So
You have a smart meter, right?
I believe so.
You're not using getting notices or?
I actually did have, the only reason I noticed was obviously because I got the bill. Unfortunately, and this was my error, the leak notifications were sent to an old email account, so I didn't get them. If I had gotten them, I would have addressed it accordingly. But the only way I knew about it was through receiving the bill.
So you didn't do anything, the leak just went away?
I don't know if the
I'm
leak,
confused.
that's the thing. So, but yeah, according to the meter, there was a leak for about 2 weeks consistently, and then it stopped. So, and,
have we been out there, Mike?
the-
Well, we've given him an unexplained usage adjustment. I think the customer is here to see if there's any more he could get
Correct.
on it.
So Women's Water is helping with concessions, but obviously there's a balance from the transaction between Women's Water and interesting.
How much are you asking for?
I think right now it's about a few $100s still remaining. So I don't have the exact number, but about 250 to 300. It could be reconciled to my typical usage, which can be seen with Women's Water, be about $20 to $30 a month. So I have no problem paying for what I've used. But like I said, I can't explain the leak. I didn't see a leak. I didn't repair any leaks. So
There's nothing on the metering side that we saw that was unusual? Any telemetry problems or? I don't have any data to go by. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what the process is here.
So the gallons in question for Mr. Maya was 43,000 gallons. His average is 4,000. So we gave him an adjustment of 39,000 gallons, which was $225.62 off the original bill. And that's corrected in, that's adjusting him back to the wholesale price, what he paid for water, not making any profit on that water. He would like to know if there's anything more between the 225 and the 403, whatever the bill was, off that. So his normal bill is, like he said, it's less than 30 bucks. But this was truly an unexplained usage. We have a policy and that's what we've done. He's here to appeal that.
So are the gallons just not, the gallons don't seem to be reconciling to the dollars in my mind. Could you you said there's 43,000 gallons.
Yes.
You reconciled back to 39,
Right.
which is in line with the normal monthly usage. Or would have been during that period of time, or just,
Yeah, his normal usage is,
and $4,000 is $25 a month? Is that right?
Average would be 9 or 10,000 a month for most homes.
Yeah,
That's really low.
normal home is like.
No, I get that. I'm just trying to reconcile the dollars. So you're saying you're out a couple $100, but they've reconciled back to your gallonage. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, he's having to pay the wholesale. It's not wiping all that clean.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he's having to pay the wholesale rate, what we paid for that.
He's paying the wholesale rate for 39,000 gallons. We're just not adding our retail on top of it.
Gotcha. Which includes the ratchets and all that,
Yeah.
right?
All
the adders. Okay.
Also, these are
So is the policy aligned with that practice? We reimburse them.
Yeah, it allows the customer, any customer, a one-time unexplained usage. If they're truly, you know, he
Yeah.
didn't have a sprinkler break, he didn't have a toilet break, he didn't have a pipe break.
Yeah.
There's just really no
Okay.
known reason. There's the out for that.
Does this happen frequently with other customers?
Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah. They just don't know. They weren't home, like you said, a lot of customers traveling on vacation, something happened to the sprinkler, the timer. And it ran every day until they returned home. It happens a lot.
You have a
But
sprinkler.
then we do find the explanation. Yeah, oh, the sprinkler timer ran 7 days a week because we had a power outage. On these unexplained, there's just no way to know. I just don't know.
Checked on the sprinkler. We do have a sprinkler system that runs in front of the property. It's with the HOA and apparently runs on its own
meter.
meter, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the process? Are we the decision makers on this? Sorry, this is the first time we've seen this. I guess maybe you've seen some before.
Yes.
Okay, so do we have to have a motion or we just to approve?
What I've seen other MUDs do in the past is really a determination on your part, based on the information that you have, of whether or not you want to modify the procedure, knowing that there might be a precedent that you set that you may or may not want to set in the future. But that's purely your decision. Based on the information that you've been given. This one does sound a little unique.
Yeah.
Usually it's what Mike says is it's
Yeah.
someone didn't realize that the toilet's going or the irrigation system broke while they're out. It's just something like that, but this one's a bit different.
Are we negotiating or
Sure.
somewhat? So I recommend you get the text messages, not the emails, right?
I 100% agree.
On your phone. So that's your assignment.
But my thinking is that all this was available to notify of the leak, but it wasn't all being used. And so now we're the ones picking up the slack on it. That was the point of one of the points of smart meter
Yeah.
was so that we would know up front or right away instead of waiting and waiting.
Essentially, what is the number in question that's left?
I think the balance is 178. That's not right. Yeah. Just under $200.
What are your thoughts?
A little bit more for some, but unfortunately, I guess because I'm thinking that there was a way to
Yeah, I agree.
avoid this.
Well, yeah, but one, he was out of town. And what if it wasn't a leak? I mean, what if it was just throw this out here? He's got an outdoor spigot. Somebody pulls up with an RV, connects to his spigot. He's out of town, siphons some water.
A text message.
Well, true.
That's a
But
two
Just to
tool.
correct you, I was in town for the majority of the time.
you were, okay,
Yeah.
He was even
So
there.
I was at them.
okay.
When
Okay.
that was
So that was good, because I
The last
see
2 days I didn't.
that a lot where I've got RVs pulling in and then I'm seeing a hose and I'm like, that hose is not going to your house and going knocking on the door and like, you got a little bit of theft going on here. But you were home.
Yeah, 2 days before the use ended, he left.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And the water was actually used or was just the meter ran wrong?
Could there be a problem with the meter?
That's what I'm thinking, because that's a lot of water for
Yeah,
one
it's
person.
ultrasonic, so there's no moving parts. It moves by,
Oh,
it like goes off and there's a couple
Pulls.
water moving through it.
yeah.
Nothing else, like, there's no gears, there's no,
There's nothing to repair.
nothing to repair.
What we did last time this happened, we just discussed it and then we made a motion, yes or no, and then voted on it. That's what we did the previous time.
So we have a motion to approve the variance to the policy.
Yeah, I'll move to a motion then.
We have a second. Second.
I know
I
we
don't
have,
accept that motion, but all of it is, go ahead, I didn't
oh,
want to.
excuse me, I'm sorry. I would be less unhappy if we agreed on half of this, 178. Because again, that's why we have the smart meters, is so we don't have these problems.
Don't let them go on and on and on for a long period of time.
But on the other hand, he's made the effort to come here to the meeting before us. So, I mean, clearly, I think this is highly unusual that this is a man that pays his bills every month. This just happened. You know, if this happened to me, I'd be here front and center too, just like, there's no way I'm using that much water.
Is this the first time this has happened?
It is, yes.
Yeah, you're only allowed one,
Right.
one time unexplained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do this every year.
And the good news for me is I have signed up for the text updates, so
Well, there we go.
there won't be any more of this type of event happening, at least on my property line.
Okay.
Hopefully not. Otherwise, you'd be calling here going, hey, it's happened again. And we get a person out there looking at that meter. Yeah.
So we have a motion.
Mhm.
Do we have a second?
Thank
Okay,
you.
all right. All right, motion passes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Cool.
Oh, yeah,
178.
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
So he has a zero, make it zero balance?
Yes.
Well, other than what he
Yeah, the
normally uses.
$29 or
right?
whatever, but he's paid that already.
Lost now. What are we doing? Trying to get back to the,
Credit for
he
the
owes 178 or thereabouts.
Yes, he gets credit for that amount.
Where do we want to go?
I think you said it was 178 was the difference between the full reconciliation and the amount that we did during the wholesale rate. So we're closing that gap to zero. He's paying his normal amount. He's paying
Yeah.
his normal amount. Yes.
And we cover the difference.
Got it.
You guys.
All right. Thanks, Ryan, for coming. Okay. So that was item 3 that we finished. Consider an act on request for adjustments. Anything on item 4? Adjustments from the district? Is this a different set of adjustments?
Is that the same one?
No.
Mike? Is there not?
That's a good one.
Anything under 4? Okay, no, okay. Okay, so we're up to the consent agenda. Do you have a motion that we can, to accept the consent agenda?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. No discussion, anything, minutes are all good. Okay. Okay, regular agenda, receive and act on the staff report regarding upcoming MedCAD Montgomery County Board of Directors election, the term of office, January 1 through 2005.
We're at step 3 of the process. Last month, step 2, Arthur Breedehoff was nominated.
Okay.
And this month is the step 3, which is to vote, if you so choose.
Saw the paperwork there, so we did. So we'll, is that process we're supposed to
Make a
move to
motion.
do that, make a motion to do that?
Yes.
Yeah. So do we have a motion to accept Arthur Betterhoff as our candidate for the MCAD position? Okay, second.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then we're 20, you have 20 votes to go towards it. It's based on size.
Yeah. Okay, so with the new directors that we swore in last month, we have to consider the appointment of trustee and the alternates to the board of trustee of the Woodlands Water Agency. I hold that position right now. And so we're going to either re-up that or make a different decision. We authorize 2 alternates. Okay. Okay. So do we have any motion for the appointment of the trustee?
I move that I move that we appoint you as the trustee. Okay.
I second that.
Any discussion?
You're doing a
That's
good
okay.
job.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it, Garrett. No, I'm fine. It's a lot of work. Okay. Because all in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay, good.
There we go.
Thank you. Be glad to keep serving that. And the alternatives, I'd like to nominate Diane. She's sat in for me before. So I'd like to put that motion on the table. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, motion passed. And the second alternate, Craig's not here. Can we vote for somebody who's not here? I'm just asking. Can you do that?
Yeah,
Can you do that?
he's a board member. Yeah,
Okay.
come on, we'll text
Okay.
him. It's a surprise.
Okay. All right.
Could you revisit it if he didn't?
If he said no.
We could, yeah, well, we've got three others to decide on. So,
I nominate Craig.
okay,
I'll second it.
okay. All
All in
right, good.
favor?
Yeah, you don't come to meetings, you get work.
No, you can volunteer. All right.
Very good.
Craig,
Well done, everyone. Okay. Okay, we're gonna receive the San Jacinto report.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
I'm Rob, and I'm gonna start tonight and kick it over to Connie and then
Okay.
Dan, right, eventually. So I'm gonna start with the document I handed out prior to the meeting. This is a corrected or adjusted page 43 in your package. So if you go through the packet, this replaces page 43. What this is at the trustees meeting, we had one trustee who asked if we were gonna talk about drought contingency stages. So what I've done is, this is a document we provided last year, made a few modifications, but this is how we internally track to see how close we are to the various stages of the drought contingency plan. So what you're looking at is on the far right, underneath where it says highlighted yellow groundwater only, you'll have the different stages, stage 1 through 4. Underneath that, you'll see basically if it's voluntary or what the trigger is. And so like stage 2 says GRP issue stage 2. When it comes to surface water, the surface water is related back to Lake Conroe. So if the Lake Conroe drops 2, 3, 4 foot, Lake Conroe enacts a drought contingency stage, which makes GRP go into stage 2, for example, which then by necessity, Woodlands goes into stage 2. So it's a daisy chain. So what we're looking at today is mostly just for the groundwater side. So stage 2 says 70% of total production or 80% from one plant for 7 consecutive days. So what we do is on the left-hand side, you have water plant 1, water plant 2, all the way through 5, and at the very bottom, overall production. What you'll see on the far left is GPM, gallons per minute. Next to that, MGD, million gallons a day. We've taken the GPM multiplied by 1440 to get to the MGD. Then what we do every day is these numbers are updated. So, excuse me, the numbers on the far right where it says MGD as of 7/12, we update those. And what we do is, like, for example, water plant 1 as of 7/12 was producing 2.13 million gallons of surface water. That's on the far right under 7 as of 7/12. Since it's 2.13, we then look back and say, okay, how does that compare to 70%, 80%, 85, 90, and just see where we fall, only for the wells. Since surface water is considered a part of Lake Conroe dropping, we do not look at surface water. Okay. Bless you. But since the well production at water plant 1 is producing 2.13, we are not close to 6 million gallons, which is the 70% for stage 2. Does that make sense? Seems kind of convoluted. Okay. So we basically look and see how much well water is produced at water plant 1. Then we say, okay, what can it ultimately produce? If it can produce 10 million, let's say, or in this case, 8.63, 70% of 8.63 is 6.04. Follow me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then we say, okay, we're currently producing 2.13. We're nowhere close to 6.04. So we're not even close to stage 2 at water plant 1. We do that for each of the water plants.
Okay.
Kind of make it a little bit easier because looking at these numbers will make you go cross-eyed. On the far right, we also look at total production. You'll see in the yellow highlighted, that is the total production. So that does take into consideration surface water, but it says right now, water plant 1 is producing at 25% of its capacity. Water plant 2, 34%. Water plant 3 is the highest producer in the system. It has basically a constant 3,000 GPM output. It's at 42%. So you guys won't see this except if it starts getting pretty hot and we have questions. This is what we do on the backside. So we just know where we're sitting. But for reference, right now, 42% is the highest. And as you can see, the numbers of consecutive days, 1 day apiece. Every day there's a chance of rain. Every day there's, it's 100 instead of 105. So demand fluctuates. Watering days versus non-watering days fluctuates as well. So all that to be said, the Woodlands is currently using about 22 million gallons a day of water. Half of that surface water, the other half is groundwater. So if you did not have surface water coming in, you would definitely be in stage 2, if not stage 3 at this point in time. Having the surface water, Lake Conroe being full, at this point, you're fine. We don't foresee any rationing of water anytime this summer.
And what is the difference between stage 1, 2, and 3 again? Is this a drought stage?
It is. So they're drought stages. So stage 1 is pretty much where the woodland stays in year round because of the alternate watering days. Stage 2 asks for a little bit of reduction. I'll put those on here for the next time I pass it out. Stage 2 is still, voluntary, asks for like maybe a 5%. Stage 3 gets a little bit, it gets mandatory, but it's a little bit bigger, like 10%. Stage 4 is mandatory as well. There's no outdoor watering, no filling of pools. It gets pretty dang strict. So for reference, in 2011, the highest we got was stage 3. 2011, we pumped about 8 billion gallons of water, never hit stage 4. So
And that was even with Houston pulling all of the water and sending it down to,
it was pre-GRP. Houston pulling water from where?
from Lake Conroe and using their part of the water back, because we had a sailboat up there at the time, and I just remember you could walk all the way out and there just was no water in Lake Conroe.
Down maybe even 8 foot. So GRP started producing September 15th, September of 2015. So in the drought of 2011, there was no surface water, as Dan reminded me. That was strictly well watered, no surface water, 8 billion gallons,
Yeah.
and still stage 3. So system is very reliable. It's very well built.
So Chris, how do all these different plants work together? I see over here that like stage 2 says 70% of total production or 80% from one plant for 7 consecutive days. That's how you kind of look at the whole stack. Any one of them can kind of trigger it, but if it's 7 days at 80%, then you trigger it automatically. Otherwise, you look at the whole average at 70%. Okay.
Correct.
And that keeps kind of escalating as you go into each stage, right?
It does. Now, one thing we're looking at, so these drought contingency plans of water conservation do every 5 years. So the update for this is actually March 24. One thing that we're looking at, Jason and I, that is water plant 3 could make the entire woodlands hit a drought stage. So water plant 1 could be at 25%, but if water plant 3, which is Alden Bridge, if that hits 70% for 7 days, the entire woodlands has to have restrictions. So we're looking to see, is there some way with the plants working together to reduce that number? Because, I mean, if you got 90% or 75% of the woodlands, which is doing fine on water, but one plant's kind of high, it doesn't make sense to make the entire, woodlands go into drought stage. So we're looking at modifying that the best we can this go around.
But so far, everything looks good.
So far, everything's good. Jason does good. Hanging out in the corner.
What would the feet down in the lake that would trigger a problem on the surface water side?
Do you
I
recall?
don't remember the state there, but obviously it's the question, I think 198.
I had them in the GRP. Yeah,
I think
they're
198.
on page 38 of your packet.
That's 3 feet, just low, right?
I think that's the state.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, 201.
Stage 1 is a 3-foot reduction in the lake. Stage 2 is 5 foot. Stage 3 is 8 foot, and then 11 foot is stage 4. And you can see, going back to what the drought stages mean on page 38. So stage 1 at GRP is a 5% reduction. Stage 2 is seasonal, right? So it's either 5 or 10, then 10 or 20 or 15 or 30. So. But wanted to get that information out there. That's something we do every day. We check it. You guys are fine. Another thing just to notice, FYI, is if we get close to hitting the stage, like that number was 60% for 7, 8, 9 days, we talked to Eric just to see if there's anything we could do before we hit restrictions and just to let y'all know. That way it's not, we come in here one day and say, guess what? We're doing this. We do plan it.
Sorry, one last question. The kind of well capacity how is that determined?
Design capacity of the well.
So you don't retest it and verify that it can continue to do that?
We do. So every year, we do twice a year, we do
Okay.
checks on the well to see. Now, when we look at the overall, actually, no, let me take that back. That is a change we made last year, actually. It's based off the last survey that we did. And these surveys are the ones that we did in February because we were having a problem. Some of the wells are out of service. So if a well's out of service, we remove it from the well capacity. If we have a specific yield from a well of, 500 instead of the design of 750, it shows the 500. Because a few years ago, we were using design and that was artificially inflating the numbers because you're not going to hit 700 because the well's aged.
It's overstating.
We did make that a couple years ago because Jason caught that this year and made sure we put it. Any other questions before I pass it to Connie?
Anything else?
All right. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. That was very helpful.
Good evening.
Hey, Connie.
Thank you for your time. I'm here just gonna give a quick update on the AC water line. Not a lot to update this month. So our major update is that we're going to be taking a scope of work for kind of what the plan would be for doing a condition-based assessment for the AC water lines to the Board of Trustees for their consideration in August. So that's really the update I have for y'all today. If y'all got any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
You're going to present to the mud boards first?
To the Board of Trustees for consideration. And I think that's consideration and potential approval of what it is, but more than likely it'll come back to you all in August is where that sits. We're going to present to the Board of Trustees in August 1st.
Is this the cost of doing it?
The approach and the general costs that would go with it.
So maybe I'm confused. Just on the process. I understand the trustee meeting comes first. They'll hear it first, but you're saying that could be for consideration for approval?
Could be.
We would expect the
That would have
muds to meet and then,
Historically, that's not the way the trustees have operated. And so, but in this case, because it's such a large item, there's been conversation that, and the trustees did this 2 months ago, I think on the 10-year plan was to say, let's go ahead and bring this same information before the boards as well. Then the boards can give the trustee direction on how to vote the following month. So that is what happened a couple months ago. So you could do that. But the normal historical way would be to go to the trustees first. And then if they so choose to vote, it will be on the agenda to receive and take action if necessary. Or you could take action to push it to the muds. That could be your action.
yeah, personally, I think the muds should hear it and should direct their trustee accordingly.
You're not the only one.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a good process. I know it's not, that's not yours, Connie. I understand. Yeah. Okay, okay, thank you. Fair Branch retention,
So.
rehabilitation, sorry.
Yeah, rehabilitation project. Last month I mentioned we've had a request for qualifications out there to get an engineering firm on board for design of those improvements. Spillway replacement and the upstream soil cement. Since then, we have received the statement of qualifications and are currently under evaluation of those. So over the next couple months, we will evaluate and select the most qualified firm to assist us in the design of that, along with continued coordination with the Corps of Engineers on the funding. So that's the current update. There'll be more to come over the next few months as that gets up. The low flow vault lid replacement there, that item could have came off last month. That was, the update was that project complete, and came in under budget. So Fair Branch monitoring report, typically in your packet, there is a one-page email summary of inspections that our staff did over the previous month at the Fair Branch Dam. That did not make it in there. There was only a couple items to note. One was there's no new graffiti. There was some minor damage to a fence that was going to be repaired. And then there was a significant storm event in June that knocked down a number of trees within the drainage easement. So staff has been working with their on-call contractor to get that done. And I don't know if there's anything else this month on the draft Fair Branch budget. I believe that was a leftover
I
item.
mean, if there were any questions, yeah.
Right, I'm assuming next month it'll come for approval. Could be on. Sorry.
Any other questions on those items?
Anything for you all?
Mm,
Okay.
Good.
Okay, so item 13. San Jacinto budget.
So the budget has not changed as it was presented in May. I do have some copies here. If anybody would like to take a look at it, just raise your hand, let me know, and we'll get you one. But the budget has not changed at all from what was presented. This month, we asked the MUDs to vote on how, or to direct their trustee on how to vote at the August trustees meeting. So the August, or the trustees meeting is the binding vote, is the official vote. This is not, at the MUD level, it's not an official one, but we do want all the MUDs buy-in, similar to the previous conversation. So just a reminder, the wholesale rate increase, wholesale water rate increases 2%, wholesale wastewater rate increases 2% with the proposed budget.
Can you remind us what's in the 23-24 budget related to AC water line repairs?
Good point. I've been forgetting to add that. So this is the O&M budget only. So that includes existing debt service for 2017 bond, give or take $2 million. And it includes $6 million for the R&R plan, which has no AC lines in it that I'm aware of. All the AC lines and all the wastewater treatment plant consolidation, new plant stuff, all that is debt service funded and is not a part of the O&M budget at this time. This is strictly operations, maintenance, and the R&R fund, repair and replacement, that is typically for anything that has a service life less than debt service. Debt service 25 to 30 years. Most things in the R&R plan has less than 20-year service.
And so no cost in there for the easement that had to be bought. That's not R&R. That's not O&M related either, right?
That is in existing R&R for 23. So there's in 24, there's no additional funds needed for the AC funds.
Okay. Any questions on the budget? And we've gone over this quite a few times. Okay, do we have a motion? Well, I guess we have an emotion to, I guess, direct me to vote. I think that's kind of how it's work,
Yeah,
to approve it.
yeah. I'll put forward a motion to authorize you to vote yes to go
Okay,
forward on this.
Okay, all right, give a second. Okay,
Yeah.
all in favor, say aye.
Yeah,
Aye, okay. Motion passed. Got our support. Okay, moving along, item 14, receive update regarding the Bear Branch Panther Creek Research Forest Drive Drainage Improvement Projects.
In your packet, we started to include a one-page summary of a monthly review of the project status, report and update. It's on page 44 in your packet. This includes kind of the tasks that were completed in the previous month, upcoming planned activities. Y'all are part of a funding agreement for this project, so we feel this is a good summary and the same that we provide other MUDs that are part of this. So in short, the project's on schedule, on budget. I do want to note that there's two charts in here, one showing the schedule status, 55% complete, one showing the billing invoice status at only 19% complete. The discrepancy there is largely due to 400,000 of the approximate $1 million contract is owner directed services that may or may not be utilized. So that is really kind of skewing that billing invoice status versus the overall schedule status of the primary deliverables in the base.
So it's not just a lag, you're saying it may not be needed? You kind of said that, right?
There
Can
is,
you give me an example of like what wouldn't be needed that you thought was needed?
And Eric, you might want to help me out here, but I think some of it was, like additional survey efforts, to help assist with the modeling. Trying to remember what else was in that detailed scope of work.
I'm getting unforeseen, I don't recall.
Cost contingency did you have in this project, do you remember?
Contingency. Yeah, on the work order,
Yeah.
so.
This isn't the design, so
Right.
part of it is the number we're talking about is in order to do the analysis and the modeling, that's what they're doing right now, to identify what the project would need when it goes to design. And so I believe some of this number that we're talking about is the contingency, but more of the unforeseen that we might have needed to finish the modeling itself and the whole analysis of it. Once we go to the design, there's going to be a design estimate, and there will probably be separate construction contingencies on that, which would fall more in line with the norms. But you might think, well, I need this much surveying, and then you get into the modeling and say, well, I gotta get some more. And so you have some of those types of contingencies where you can draw from that to get more data, if you feel like you need to during the project. But so thus far, it doesn't appear that we're dipping into that.
With the alternative analysis, usually the base scope says, all right, we're gonna look at, and this, don't quote me on this, but it might be, all right, 3 alternatives we want you to develop and provide cost estimates. You know, as you go through those alternatives, you might say, oh, well, there's a sub-alternative or a 4th one that we want to look at. We'll authorize you under, you know, the owner-directed services to provide a cost estimate and looking at this 4th one. You know, those would be examples of typical to a contract.
So you're moving through that alternative analysis. You have here this August 25th. Are those dates still holding?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Okay, it looks like we have an item to consider and act on purchasing cameras for the Bear Branch Dam area and modifying the budget, which we just approved, right?
So this is for the Bear Branch
Just there.
Dam.
Okay.
This is the budget you'll get next month. However, this item was discussed last month. No modifications to the budget is needed, and they're going to be purchasing the game cameras that were discussed for less than $1,000, probably around the $600 mark. So long story short, that item is not needed.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Putting game cameras up, like,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
The 2 year partner muds in this, both said, sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
So 60 and
Considering all that's going on right
Yeah.
there, that's definitely the right decision. Okay. That was easy. Okay, anything on the Spring Creek detention study?
Not a whole lot beyond what was presented last month, just continued coordination with the solar company to see if there's any possibilities to coexist solar panels on that property along with flood detention. And then also in the next couple of months, we do plan to reach out to some elected public officials to help get them up to speed on the project. You know, as updates come in, you know, we're providing them via email to Eric.
Is the idea that solar panels are for just general commercial use, or is it directed into some business there directly, or what's the idea there? Just
They don't have the details on this.
So where did the idea come from?
The solar panels is,
it's not our deal. It's.
right, so that it's
Right.
not.
I'm just curious.
Oh, yeah.
We don't.
I mean, someone's gonna, it'll be in the paper that we're gonna get solar panels and
True,
everyone's gonna get
true.
really excited.
The other thing is that solar panels right now are getting such bad press because once the like hail hits them, whatever, and they're damaged, you can't use them again. So there's graveyards full of these solar panels that they can't be recycled or anything. There's kind of be a little bit careful that you put up some solar panels and that all over the place and that, and people will ask, it's like, what are they doing? How they serve a purpose here for the water district because it's on the property.
So it's nothing to do with water.
It has no affiliation with
No.
SRA. with-
We're just extra land and we thought we leased it out and,
The property is owned by Rice University.
okay,
And this is just through a feasibility study that we were looking at locations to potentially develop a flood detention reservoir. So
Right.
it was not land that we own or.
okay,
Anyway, so Rice University is leasing that land out to a solar company that
Okay.
has come up with a project to install.
And the proposed detention facilities on that drainage area are abutting up into
ah,
this
okay.
property that
Right.
we don't have no control over.
Right,
For the project, and we're saying, well, sure would be nice if we could maybe have a dual use.
Do both.
And, right, and so that's,
yeah,
other than that, there's
Okay.
no affiliation
Okay, okay.
All right.
whatsoever.
okay, got it. Joint venture between Rice University and us. So anything goes
Nope,
wrong,
not even
it's
for
the
that.
university.
Yeah.
University and some solar.
And some
Yeah,
solar.
Yeah, it's not even touching ours.
Not even,
Okay,
nothing to do with it.
okay. Just
Except that
just
they're-
because if I get asked, I want to say the right story, so,
That's good.
yeah.
Good.
Okay,
Is that it then?
That's all I have.
That's it. We have an attorney's report. We always have a good one.
Just to remind you all, my name's Katie Blasio. I help Brian with the Woodlands and just fill in when he's unable to be here. He tries to never miss, but has a family vacation. So thanks for having me. I don't have anything to update you on for a report this month. I did want to let you know that next month you're going to see several items on the agenda related to the legislative session. We put together a summary, our office did. We have 2 lobbyists who are in Austin throughout the session. So they put together a pretty long summary that is already up on the Google Drive. If you want to take a look at that, we'll have an item to discuss that summary. So you can ask any questions at that meeting. And then we'll have a few agenda items for your consideration related to the session. Things that you need to update your notice to purchasers and your district information form, some things like that, mainly administrative. But nothing for this month.
Okay. All right, thanks, Katie. Appreciate it. Okay, number 18, review and act on the resolution in support of Jace Houston.
There is a copy of the resolution, which we talked about a little bit last month, just to refresh everybody's memory on the history. It was drafted by a board member or a couple board members, put some effort into it probably 60 days ago when the legislative session was contemplating all the J stuff. It got on about half the board agendas last month. It's on all of them this month. And this is the 5th meeting. And so one board has said, no, I don't want to do it. Another one deferred it. And then 2 others looks like they're going to go partner up and fine tune the wording.
Does it intend to accomplish? 'Cause
That's been a common.
I understand
Yeah.
he resigned and the Senate, they did their thing, so.
Yeah, that's kind of been the common debate. What does it do? What's the purpose? I
right,
think the general purpose is, as it's been reported, is to put those folks, SGRA, Lone Star, the legislators, on notice that the Woodlands is not very happy with how this was handled. That's generally what we're hearing. So the question,
Maybe connected to that is where does this go? Like who sends this to whom?
yeah,
Well, I know a question that came up when we were chatting about this at the trustees, so.
I would help them finalize it, and then the original author suggested that he would send me the recipients, of the intended recipients, which would be SGRA, Lone Star, and the legislators that were involved, and potential other media outlets.
So the media, that's part of the plan.
As far as the way I understand it.
I
doesn't
think
really read like a press release though, you know.
I don't know Mr. Houston. It's got language in there that says he's done an outstanding job and he may have, right? I just don't personally. No, I can't. It's hard for me to sign off on some of that because fairly new to the.
Well, this has been part of the discussion
Yeah.
is who signs it, And how is it actually titled on the signature? Is it the Board of Trustees on behalf of their directors?
Right.
Do the individual MUD directors sign it? There was a version that had everyone's name on it. Then it said, well, just the MUD presidents, it's been kind of, I don't know if
Yes,
that,
if-
has it evolved?
If this is a no condition, something like this to be a press release to go to the media.
No.
The language is like totally wrong. So I'm with you guys. It's kind of like, so who is the audience for which this is written? It just,
Right now, where is it kind of sitting as far as you said, the MUD president? If we signed off on it, I would be putting my John Hancock somewhere on something attached to this that would go to those places.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying? And I'd be doing it on behalf of our MUD if we approved
Your
it,
MUD instructed.
if we approved it.
yeah.
Okay. And then your kind of chore was to try to craft a single version that everyone could agree on
Yeah, the
ish.
original author, is generally okay with the current state. The directors in MUD 7 were more interested in retooling this a little bit, quite a bit. So the idea was that we would work with MUD 7 and MUD 1, current, at least at the moment, to refine it or rewrite it.
So I guess we got maybe a couple choices. We could act on deferring it perhaps and just say, let's just see what the version starts looking like after some further work. And we agree to do that tonight, or we could have a different motion that says we're all in, let's go.
I don't see how we can vote on it. We don't have the final document.
And we need to know who it's going to.
Yes.
Because once we know who the audience is, then we can read everything with them in mind. But as it is, it's just kind of
Yeah.
whatever we got going out there.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
And another option is we just do nothing with it, like that one MUD.
Yeah.
So 3.
Yeah.
We've already deferred it once. And
Yeah.
and I don't mind deferring.
Correct.
I don't mind deferring again either, but it's spending a lot of time on, I don't know
Something
what
that
impact
don't
it'll
know.
have. I wonder,
Exactly.
yeah. And I understand, I watched MUD 1 today, so I understand there's different opinions on that. So,
Well, do we have a motion either way?
I don't even think this is our time to do it. I think we just pass on it and just let the other MUDs handle it. I just don't see a reason for this. I really don't.
A motion to do nothing,
Kill it.
second. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. Is that clear? Does that work?
Hmm.
Everyone? Okay, general manager report.
All right, thank you.
Eric, up to you. Mhm.
Yes, just a couple minor things to report on. Last month, I reported the trustees did authorize me to complete a letter of commendation, which I did create and read to the Estuary Board of Directors at their last directors meeting, our board of directors meeting. It was well received, so I think that went well. That was Jace's last board of directors meeting. Give you an update on Lone Star Groundwater Conservation District. They did announce the new general manager, Sarah Kuba, I think. I'm not exactly sure how it's pronounced, but that will be she will be the new GM for Lone Star. Did want to point out in your packet, there's a couple positive customer responses.
Oh, wait. Where did Sarah, do you know where Sarah came from? What her background is? A little bit about her?
Not much. I noticed on that she was previously with Habitat for Humanity and a couple other nonprofit organizations. Didn't see anything on water or anything like that. But,
Okay.
let's see. As we kind of started the last 2 months, I wanted to carve out a little piece for John to update you on all the public education outreach that we're doing. And so with that, John?
Evening, page 55 on your packet, you've got the communications report. Gonna touch on some highlights for you. So we are in the third quarter of our strategic plan, focuses water conservation. Continuing to push messaging on other fronts as well, but with summer months, water conservation is on a lot of people's minds. Page 2. Website, I wanted to note one statistic here, June numbers on visitation page views. It was our third highest month ever, so we're continuing with a really strong year compared to past years. Very encouraging. The email continues to be a significant tool for us. That's holding steady on the percentage of folks that are opening that email each week and then reading it when they get it. So we're tracking how they click on it, how they engage with it. That's been very encouraging too, the numbers on that. When I say the email, I mean the Monday morning irrigation recommendation and newsletter. We do send out standalone emails as well. We're actually ramping up the frequency of those. Have ones going out recently on the TV sewer line inspections that we provide for free to customers. Another one on backing up our water quality report mailing, and we'll have more going out here in the future too. Page 3, we've got some recent marketing pieces here with Community Impact, Chronicle, Woodlands Community Magazine. Those are print and digital. Again, with a focus on water quality, all of these do click through to our website and to a specific spot on our website that's designed to receive them, put information in right in front of them, easily navigated. We had an article in the Community Magazine in July that focused on our reduction in our water loss rate from the smart meter implementation and highlighting how we're good stewards of the water system. And then finally on page 4, something to note, we are in process of adding Nextdoor to our suite of social media outlets. Just one more way of trying to get out in front of stories. We're not going to be responding to comments and so forth, but it's an agency account where we can put out information, much like the fire department and police department do. The communications consultant. So that is moving along nicely. So we did get 5 proposals in, SGRA did. They forwarded those to us. So Woodlands Water staff and members of the PEC reviewed those. We provided our input to SGRA on our preferred candidates. So they're now going through their evaluation process. Their board will vote on the recommendation on the 24th of August. And so hopefully we'll be working with this new firm early September. Again, the focus there is on infrastructure renewal.
I'm sorry, their focus is what?
Excuse me, infrastructure renewal.
So that was a bunch of work that John and his team did. And what I'm excited about is that all we've been talking about, AC line repairs, wastewater treatment plant, the WWA kind of lines, we have a real good opportunity to get a professional in here to help us think through how we move the community, along with us in all these major projects. And we saw some really good, RFPs or requests, responses to the proposals. So I'm pretty excited about the group we got and what they're capable of doing. Really supplement quite a bit. Yeah.
You, of course, intimately involved with that.
Yeah, you guys did a really good job.
Finally, reminding you that MUD directors are really key assets in the community, right? You're conduits for information. So you're always bringing information out to the public, and then you're also hearing information. What is it from what the public is saying, what the questions they're asking of you, the input you're receiving from them. We want to get that input, right? That's really important to us. So we have measurement tools out there on a number of fronts. I'll be doing a community-wide survey again this fall on engaging knowledge and attitude. But that qualitative data is really important too. You know, we get a lot of that as we go out to our special events, as we interact with the public, but you're doing the same. And so we want to glean that. So shoot me an email, call me up, you know, whatever is convenient for you. But if you're hearing a consistent drumbeat, or you've got a key question or a piece of information that might be of value, please forward that to us.
Okay, so like on your community involvement in that, and I'll just put this out because I've got a couple of requests on this. Getting down to some grassroots marketing kind of, would you be open to consider like maybe getting involved like in the 4th of July parade and maybe, you know, having a float in there of just, you know, a little bit more visibility? I mean, you've got a lot of electronic presence in that, but sometimes just getting your hands dirty in the community, you know, whether it's just something as serious as handing out bottles of water because it was hot that day. But that's like really good community presence and not really that expensive. Or partner with a couple of other like-minded businesses for like summer safety or something like that.
I think Eric was talking about building a float for 4th of July.
That's right. We provided the water for the event.
Yeah, we actually did provide the water. We bought 1,000 bottles of water for the parade committee. We didn't have physical presence there,
Yeah.
but we do get out to community events, to their township events, village associations, garden clubs, presentations, booths, you know, you name it. We've got some seminars kicking off in August. That will be.
You know, if you do have these kind of events going on, and let's say that wherever the event is happening, that it just happens to land in the area where there would be a lot of people from Mud 47, maybe it's a good idea to just kind of include us. We wanted to like show up and be a part of it, because for us, at least speaking for myself, these are a lot of people that I've gone and knocked on their doors and they know who I am. And then to just, oh, well, she's out here again. And they're just handing out water or just talking to people and that, especially with a lot of the issues that we've got coming up. We need all the good publicity we can get.
So the fall festival is a.
Oh,
really
yeah,
good,
we were there.
Right, so you're committing to that, I know, and that was both the SJRA and WWA, right? So that was good to see
Yeah, we
that.
talked to a lot of people there.
And I think you hit most of those festivals.
We hit a lot of them.
Yeah, and I know that we got asked last time. That was super. There was several thousand people.
I know.
Right.
We,
And
I was hoarse the next day. We
coming by
talked to
the-
so many people.
yeah.
But it's like things like that, or even if there's any way to just, you know, partner up like with the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion, their children's festival and whatever. I mean, those are local events where the community just really gets involved in that, and to just kind of involve or make the opportunity available to some of us as directors and that of, hey, want to go out there and get in front of your people, and that to put that kind of an events calendar together, make it available to us, because I, for one, will go. Because I really like to talk with the people that voted for us and sent us over here to do the work.
You know, I think there's as much value for us learning from our customers, from the community, as there is us imparting information to the community. I mean, it's a real two-way street in those events, and having directors involved is fantastic. So we're building our fall calendar now. There'll be probably 10 to 12 events that we'll be involved in on a number of different types. So as we solidify that, I'll get that out. We'll make sure that the directors are aware.
Make that part of your
Presentation.
Yeah. Maybe just add that and keep that as an evergreen kind of.
And I would say whether it's in 47 or not, we'll just.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it's a specific village association event, okay, maybe it's separate.
But I mean, this community is small enough that if some of the directors want to go out and just, you know, when they have their trick and treat festival down at Town Green Park, if there's a presence here, you know, and they click, and then we're just not this entity that nobody knows anything about. So much of us well, at least when Hugh and I were out there, we go up to people and there's just no idea what a mud director is or what you do or anything like that. And I don't want the negative part where all you do is spend money that we don't have. But to be able to just go out and be an integral part of the community, I'm there. I'm there. And the other thing, collect all that, you know, as you put it, qualitative data, give it back to you and saying, okay, we're at the Trick and Treat Festival, talk to all these people. Here are some of the concerns coming up. And that way you can attenuate a lot of your, you know, ads and stuff that you're putting going forward.
Absolutely. Good. We're
Thank
in,
you.
we're all in.
We're all in it. Yeah.
More the merrier.
Happy.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, John. Okay, good discussion. Anything else?
You on the trustee stuff?
You want to go on to the trustee
Sure.
report then?
A couple just quick hitters. There was a lot of discussion, obviously, on the AC discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Connie already mentioned the path forward there. Two things that affect WWA specifically. One was trustees did approve the billing software change out, and so that is going to be going forward. I think that was very positive discussion, so we're excited about that. It will be probably a 9 to 11 month kind of build up and roll out before we go live, but we want to make sure that, you know, we get all the accounts switched over, get them right, get them in the system correctly before we go live with the new software. And then the other item that the trustees approved was the 2024 WWA salary budget. That was approved. Long story short, there was overall about $150,000 deduction in the overall budget from the current budget. That essentially was two positions, partly Jim's position fading away, and then partly due to the software change out, there'd be another position that we probably won't fill as well. And then it had merit and CPI increases for the existing staff. So that was approved. And that's all I had. There's a couple other minor things maybe in the trustees, but that was about it. Those
Well,
are the big ones.
yeah, I think so. I'm just looking through my notes on that. We got an update from Arthur Betancourt on the Region H. And he said they're going through a study. So they look at the whole region, which is obviously large over in this area, to really get a bead on the kind of per person, per household, the health people per household kind of number that drives a bunch of the projections going forward. So they've started on that process, and I think right now they're using 2 point something, but it might go to 3. So they're kind of retooling that number, which drives a bunch of projections, and that gets delivered into the Texas Water Board. So pretty important to get that right. Also talked about how Region G, which is the Brazos River to our, over to the south and west, connects to our Region H. And we need to know more. So they're working cross regions, which is good to see. The Region H and Region G are going to actually talk to each other. Yeah, that's a concept, so that they actually share results, because what happens in our watershed can affect the Brazos and vice versa. So that was pretty good time. The property tax changes, I guess that was one of the discussions that Brian brought up. They're kind of at the legislature, they're kind of working their way through the laws. We're all seeing that show up. Yeah, the Vertex one, that's about it. Yeah, it was good discussion in addition to the AC water line. So, okay, I don't see any reason need to recess to closed session.
We talked the last time about wanting to send out a letter to our MUD 47 people that we have 2 new directors.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
We need to have that drafted and sent out.
Okay. Can we, what do we decide? Well, maybe we should just talk about that. Is that a separate communication? Is that something that's stuffed in the bill?
Stuffed in the bill. The one that was done for us was stuffed in the bill.
We did a year end.
And everybody read it too. People that weren't even in our MUD were mad. We didn't get any letter in our bill.
Yeah.
But I think we have a few new directors and we should say something about that because that's news.
So can you guys help us put that together?
Yeah.
Is there anything we have to do to make that happen?
You can put a
John.
draft together and a next meeting, just bring it forward and we'll look at it. And I know that you'll just craft something fantastic.
Yeah.
Confidence in you.
You want me to forward that to you before the next meeting or?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, we can just do it on.
No, we can,
the lead.
I think Diane's
I'll
going.
do it. Yeah,
Great.
send it to me.
we can send an
Cool.
email out.
And then at the next meeting, we'll just have the final draft. You all can review it. Craig's not here. We're gonna phone on him anyway. We'll say
Let
great
him
things
review.
about
Yeah.
him.
We can give that to Craig if you want to. All right.
No, it'll be,
That's
but,
good add,
but I
good
think, I think our people really like hearing
Yeah,
from us,
yeah,
so.
yeah, that's really good.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, awesome, awesome.
we'll put Garrett's address in there.
Right. So no closed sessions, but we don't have to reconvene for an open session.
Nope.
No additional comments from the public. So any agenda items or items to discuss for next month that we haven't already discussed? Anything to bring up? Anxious to hear about what's going on in Howard Hughes Corporation on those
Yes.
properties. So I
Yeah,
think that'll come along in normal course.
yeah.
I don't know that we need to add that. We're gonna hear, hopefully we're gonna hear about the water, AC water line and town hall, town center line.
Yep.
Anything you all have? Okay,
Can't wait for August.
all right, then we are adjourned.